How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be looking at best picks for the captaincy, for the armband, for game week 2. I have a man to my right who might just be a pretty good captain at home to West Ham, already scoring in his first game away to Fulham, and that's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So a little bit of a spoiler there, but if you're enjoying the videos, make sure to leave a like on them. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Over 80% of you are not subscribed, and it greatly helps the channel. It's free to do. Just hit the subscribe button, and the bigger the channel gets, the more benefits that you guys will be able to get going forward. At the end of the day, the channel is for you, and it's to help everyone in the FPL community. Also, give us a follow on all of our platforms, Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those. Links are also in the description. If you search PilotFlame226, you'll probably find me on those platforms. And we're going to get right into the captaincy video. So let's see what captains we have in this video for game week 2. So the first captain we have on our list here is, yep, you guessed it, it's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, scoring a total of 7 points in game week 1. He's close to 50% owned. He got the 1 goal in the game. Didn't get any bonus, however, as he's a midfielder, so his BPS isn't as good. He did pick up a yellow card, which is something we're going to have to kind of deal with, unfortunately. He's going to be pressing from the front. He's going to, pick up some yellow cards every now and again, which is, somewhat unfortunate, but it's going to happen from time to time. But he's going to be a great asset and a great captain for game week 2. West Ham at home. They did lose to Newcastle and just didn't really provide much on the counterattack, which makes it so that Arsenal in possession can be a little bit more confident, a little more comfortable. Gabriel getting a goal as well, and after his kind of early shaky moments in the game, is looking to be quite an astute signing. So I think that that Arteta can set up his team in such a way where Aubameyang, Lacazette, Nketiah, Pepe, Willian, all these front men are going to be able to do what they do best, which is just go out and express themselves and attack, being on the front foot. I think that Willian was also key as well. He got 3 assists, which is probably something that's not really going to happen too much, but we will see Willian on free kicks, who's going to be quite good. We can see Aubameyang being taken down probably quite often, potentially, for when he's trying to get towards taking a shot close or in and around the box, and then Willian could potentially be putting those free kicks in, which just adds to Aubameyang's assist potential. Also, when Willian's out on the right flank, or Bellerin, who was constantly bombing forward, he's going to be, looking to slide balls across, specifically on the back post, where Aubameyang can come in behind the defender unmarked and tap them in, which makes him even more of a threat when you have to look at the likes of Willian and Bellerin kind of dragging these players out of position. It just makes his price tag look even cheaper, even at 12 million. So I think Aubameyang is going to be a great captaincy option, a great pick for this game week, and I think you should definitely be considering him for the armband in game week 2. The next player we have on our list here is United's talisman. That is Bruno Fernandes. He had 117 points last season with 8 goals, 8 assists in the few games that he played. I can't remember what game he actually started. I think it was around like 11 or 12 games. But he's at 17.8% ownership. So some people did start with him on the bench. Obviously not playing in game week 1 as they had a blank. And has Crystal Palace at home, which is an FDR rating of 2, much like Aubameyang's West Ham at home. And I think that both of them are very good options for the captaincy this week. Bruno Fernandes, we know, is going to be on penalties. We know he's on free kicks. He's on corners. So we're still waiting for the Bruno Fernandes swing the ball into Maguire, who's going to head it home. That will eventually happen at some point. And he's just been chilling, doing his thing over in Portugal, resting up for the new season. He's come back in time to where he can beat the quarantine protocol and just needs to be training away from the team where he can be, make sure he's, free, as it were, to play in the first game week. Make sure he was there in time, much like I think Paul Pogba would be, but I think he's still kind of recovering a bit and still has to wait a few more days, so he might not make it for game week 1. But Bruno Fernandes will probably play in the 10, or Donny van der Beek will play in the 10, and Bruno Fernandes, they'll interchange, and they like to both get in the box. They both like to shoot. They both like to get involved. And van der Beek much likes to play those little 1-2 passes as well, which favors the likes of Fernandes to set up and take a shot. It favors Martial as well to get involved in terms of scoring goals, and I think they could they could both be captaincy options this week. But Fernandes specifically, I'm certainly looking at him at 10.5. He seems to be, you know, quite a good asset, and he could be an easy transition for those who have the likes of Son or Ali and don't really think that Spurs are, after seeing them play in their opening fixture versus semi-decent opposition in Everton, even though Everton look very good with their newly transformed midfield. It could be an easy segue if you have money in the bank, much like how I do, to transition to Fernandes. And I think a United asset is a must going into game week 2, and I think Fernandes could be a must for the captaincy armband if you have him for game week 2. And we already mentioned him when talking about Bruno Fernandes, but that's Anthony Martial. He's reclassified as a 9 million forward this season. 200 points last season, 17 goals, 9 assists with a 12.4% ownership. He obviously also has the same fixture as Bruno Fernandes in Crystal Palace at home. And I think that he could definitely be a very, very good forward this season. He will obviously get less points because he's a forward now and doesn't get that extra point for clean sheets as well as when he scores, but his bonus points will be a lot higher this season. He's also going to be that Jimenez type of, you know, Ings as well, or it can be, you know, bundled into this, where they score 1 goal and they get 9 points because they get max bonus even though they scored once. And Martial's that type of player. He's going to be involved. He's going to get taken down for penalties all the time because that's just how United work. They're very good at getting in the box and using their trickery to basically you know, dazzle the opponents and kind of fool them around. And I think that Martial is going to definitely be a great option at that price point at 9 million in the forward line. He's also only 0.5 away from Werner, so if the fixtures shift at some point, you could potentially you know, swap to him. He's only 1.5 away from Aguero, so 2 transfers probably there as well. Could potentially see something there. But I think Martial is going to be definitely a mainstay and one of the key players for United this season. He's not on set pieces and that sort of stuff, but the attack always angles towards him, and especially with Sancho potentially coming in for Manchester United, he also likes that 1-2 style of football. So if Sancho and Martial can have that telepathic kind of, you know, 1-2 or one-touch passing that him and Rashford do normally, I think that Martial is going to be even better a player and kick on even better than what he did last season. So I definitely think if you're bringing him in over Bruno Fernandes, I can see arguments for him being the captain in game week 2. Moving over to the other side of Manchester, we have Kevin De Bruyne. Now, this could just be any Manchester City asset, specifically him or Sterling. He's 11.5, which Sterling is also. He had the most points last season with 251, 13 goals, 23 assists, 26.6% owned currently at the time of recording. However, he does have an FDR rating of 3 fixture versus Wolves to start off the campaign. They obviously had a blank in game week 1, much like Manchester United, Aston Villa, and Burnley. But I think that Kevin De Bruyne is going to play pretty much most games. It's hardly ever going to be substituted unless there's a crucial tie in the Champions League of some kind that they have to deal with in midweek or on the weekend or something like that. De Bruyne is going to play pretty much every game. He's going to be a mainstay in the teams. He's most likely going to be on penalties, which is something I definitely want to see. I want to see if City get a penalty with De Bruyne, Aguero, and Sterling all on the pitch. I want to see who takes that penalty, much like Chelsea as well. When they go to play, I want to see the likes of Werner, Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic, when they're all back. I want to see what happens and who takes the penalty when they're on the field and when Jorginho's not on it, because Jorginho's not going to start over Conte and Kovacic. Jorginho is typically one of the players that could be in contention for penalties. Willian was taking them, so it could be interesting as to who could be taking those penalties. At the time of recording, Chelsea has not played as of yet, so I think that it could be interesting to see if they do get one, who would take one versus Brighton, much like Man City and De Bruyne here. But I think he's going to be a great asset. I think he should be somebody that you're looking to bring in on your wild card if you are on game week 2, even though they do have a kind of rough fixture in Wolves away, which hasn't been you know, kind to City in recent years. But I think that De Bruyne can do it against anyone at any level, because I think he's the best player in the Premier League. So De Bruyne could be an outside shout for the armband in game week 2. And our fifth captaincy choice of the week is Callum Wilson. Now, what I like to do is I'll pick 4 that look to be like really good. So if like City have a really good fixture, you'll have De Bruyne and Sterling. And then let's say AUBAMEYANG may have one and Werner might have one. You could probably pick those 4. And then what I'll do is I'll pick one that's going to be a bit out there, a bit different. So like Ings would have been a good shout potentially for, game week 1, even though he didn't score. And I think Callum Wilson fits that mold this week. Game week 2, 6.5 million forward. He got 8 points in his first game, scoring and getting some bonus points. There is only 10% owned, which is quite low, and they have Brighton at home, which could be a great fixture. Brighton could potentially be one of the teams that could be dropping into the relegation battle, as they kind of escaped it last season. But I think Callum Wilson was quite good. If him and Andy Carroll stay fit, they look to be a good partnership, and I think that Callum Wilson, when Fraser comes back into the fold as well, could provide even more dynamism. Hendricks was amazing in their game versus West Ham. St. Maximin just drawing constant amount of fouls, left Hendricks open. It let Carroll do what he needed to do, and it just provided for the likes of Wilson just the entire game. And I think, he's proven that he is a solid striker. It's going to be around like the mid-table clubs, and I think Newcastle could kick on this season and could progress up the table and not be involved in the relegation battle. They made some very astute signings. I like Lewis. He likes to get forward at left back. Callum Wilson obviously getting his goal. Ryan Fraser is going to be very good for the squad overall, and as long as the their midfield holds up with the likes of Shelvey, with the Longstaff brothers potentially being backups in there, assuming Hayden is is fit and doesn't get himself sent off, I think that Newcastle could be quite a good team this season and potentially hover around mid-table, which would be a respectable result considering what they had to deal with last season and kind of their this whole takeover thing as well. People were expecting them to go to even greater heights, and if that does happen, I think you can take this team, which has the building blocks to be very good, and get back to what it once was several years ago. But on Wilson, I think he could be an outside shot for the captaincy. It's a great fixture, FDR rating of 2 versus Brighton at home. So I would consider giving the armband after he's already proven that he can score in game week 1. And that's going to do it for our captaincy picks for game week 2. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. A lot of you aren't subscribed, and it would greatly help the channel if you do so. It's free to do. All you have to do is just hit that button, and it would help the channel out greatly. And it would help you all out greatly because it will show that you're supporting the channel, which means I can make even better content in the game weeks going forward. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below as to which players you're looking to captain going into game week 2. It's pretty straightforward this week, I think, but there could be some outside shouts for people maybe looking to captain somebody that may not necessarily seem obvious. I mean, Salah did score a hat-trick, and we didn't mention him in this video, but he's, again, one of those players that could score against anyone. Also, turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content on here as soon as it is readily available. Also, leave a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those platforms. We're going to be doing our game week preview stream on Friday at 7 p.m. EDT, and we're also going to be doing our deadline stream as normal 1 hour before the deadline, which is 5 a.m. EST. And if it's not, just make sure it's going to be, the stream will be up 1 hour before the deadline. So whatever time zone that is for you, just check that out. We'll be over on Twitch for both those streams this week. So that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it, and until the next one, take care.